Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham, back with another video just for you guys, the latest rumors and news surrounding the Chicago Bears. And I wanted to focus on this recent development of the Bears possibly signing Morgan Moses. Could this happen for Chicago? I'm going to give it two smoking Jays. I think there's a decent chance that they will sign the veteran offensive tackle in free agency, and the reason it's at least two is he's visiting with the Bears on Wednesday, set to make a free agent visit. Now, Field Yates of ESPN also added on to Adam Schefter's report that Moses could take more visits, but the fact that the Bears are getting the first one is a very, very good sign. Pro Football Focus graded him as the 15th best offensive tackle in 2020. And what I like about him most is he's got flexibility. He can play right or left tackle, played a little bit of both last year, which would provide insurance if, say, Tevin Jenkins doesn't work out at left tackle. You could push him back to right tackle. Moses could play left tackle. Plus, if you sign him, Jermaine Ifedi becomes your swing tackle, which I think is a much better role for him. I think this is a no-brainer. If he comes in, the medical checks out, and the money isn't too hefty, which $9 million is about to clear following the post-June 1 cut of Charles Leno, go sign Morgan Moses. I think it's an absolutely no-brainer decision for the Chicago Bears, unless he's expecting $10 million or something like that, which at this point in free agency, I don't think is a very realistic possibility for really any free agent to sign for that much money. Last year, yeah, he gave up 5 sacks. He'll give up a sack here and there, but he's great in the run game, which the Bears really value because they run the football quite a bit. Only gave up 20 hurries the entire season. That's not a lot for a guy who played both right and left tackle and played in all 16 games for the Washington football team. They cut him not because he was a bad player, because he cost too much, and they needed to clear cap space, just like the Bears did with Charles Leno about a month ago. So keep that in mind. Only 30 years old, 6'6", 330. This guy is still in the prime of his career, and while he's not an all-pro, he's an upgrade from Charles Leno. He'll probably be cheaper than Charles Leno, and it gives you more options, again, especially if Tevin Jenkins may not be ready to play a left tackle. They could kick Moses over there and then put Jenkins at the position he played more often in college at right tackle. Speaking of Jenkins, are you concerned, are you worried about Tevin Jenkins at left tackle? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I think worried or concerned is a strong word, but he played primarily right tackle at Oklahoma State, so I'm slightly concerned. I trust the Bears scouting, and if they think he's a left tackle, I'm good with that, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go out and get a guy like Morgan Moses either. Y for yes, N for no. Let us know if you are worried about Jenkins playing left tackle. And again, I love this idea of signing Morgan Moses because he can play both spots, and he can play both spots well. A lot of guys are like, oh yeah, they're right tackles. If they had to, they could play left tackle. That's not the case with Moses. He's played both. He's played both at a pretty high level. Is he probably better at right tackle than left tackle? Probably, but again, he's a veteran that you could kick out to the left side and move Jenkins back to the right side. As of now, this is how things sit, which if Jenkins is at least average to above average, I think this O-line is better than it was a year ago. Tevin Jenkins at left tackle, Whitehair at left guard, Mustipher at center, James Daniels at right guard, and then Ifedi at right tackle, who wasn't bad last year. Certainly was much better last year than he was at any time during his career in Seattle, but you could make him your swing tackle. You could treat this year like a redshirt year for a guy like Larry Borom, who I am high on as well. I am really high and excited about the idea of signing Morgan Moses. I hope it happens. I hope the visit goes well. And honestly, I hope he doesn't make any more visits. I hope they get him in there. He takes a visit, and he's like, shoot, I'm ready to sign. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to be a part of this thing moving forward in Chicago. We'll monitor this story. Two smoking Jays on him actually signing. I think there's a pretty decent chance it happens, but let's see how the visit goes first. Should the Bears sign Morgan Moses? Let's get your votes in on this one. Type S for sign, type P for pass. What do you guys think when it comes to the veteran offensive tackle? Should the Bears sign Morgan Moses? All right, we are closing in on 28,000 subscribers. As we started today's show, we are at 27,932 subs, less than 70 away from 28K. I want to hit there before midnight here on Tuesday night, June 1st. Let's get to 28,000 together and then keep the train rolling. Let's zoom past 28K, and then it's 29K, then hey, 30K around the corner. We'll have to do something big for 30,000 subscribers. I'm open to suggestions from you guys. We won't shave the head, but hey, we shaved the beard for a $100 super chat. Imagine what we'll do for 30,000 subscribers. Hit that big red button. Videos coming your way every single day on Chicago Bears Now. Next up on our Bears Rumors Roundup, Justin Fields. Is he going to start week 1? 2 Smoking Jays. But this is significant. I've said 1 Smoking Jay up to this point. I'm elevating it to 2. I like the momentum that and the attitude Justin Fields has brought since he got drafted by the Chicago Bears. Now, Jeremy Fowler, I'll say loosely reported this on Monday on Memorial Day because he didn't really cite any sources. He just basically said the Bears are going to give Fields, quote, the best chance to earn the starting job. Now, he didn't say if he talked to Matt Nagy directly. He didn't say if he heard that from Ryan Pace. I think he's connecting dots more than anything, but I think it's somewhat significant that one of the bigger shots at ESPN is actually saying that when it comes to Justin Fields versus Andy Dalton. Now, remember, Nagy and Pace have consistently said Fields will start, that Fields will start later in the season, and that Dalton will be the Week 1 starter. So keep that in mind. Jeremy Fowler had this to say on Get Up in further detail. If Fields is just undeniable over the next 3 to 4 months in training camp, they're not going to just sit him for just fun or posterity just to play the veteran. So they're going to give him the best chance. But they're okay sitting Fields if Dalton has a good grasp on the job and they feel like they can win with him. And I've said this before, and I will say it again. This is not Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes 2.0 for a couple of reasons. Number 1, Alex Smith, when they drafted Patrick Mahomes, was coming off a Pro Bowl top 7-ish type of quarterback season. Andy Dalton, while he's played a lot of football and he's played at a high level at points in his career, he was a backup last year in Dallas until Dak got hurt, and the results were just okay when he got into action with the Dallas Cowboys. This is not an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes situation. Andy Dalton is not coming off a year which he was a clear-cut starter in the NFL. In fact, he signed to be a backup this past year, so keep that in mind. Who will be the Week 1 starter? AD for Andy Dalton, JF for Justin Fields. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. I'm still going to lean Andy Dalton. I still think if you had to ask me who I think will start Week 1, I'll type my AD, but I've elevated this to 2 Smoking Jays for Justin Fields. I think there's a chance, and I think if he's clearly the better option in training camp and in the preseason, he could start Week 1. And again, I just want to recircle back and recompare it to the Alex Smith Mahomes situation. This is what Dalton did last year in 9 starts. Okay, he was fine. He was average. Alex Smith had like a 4,000-yard passing season and took the Chiefs to the playoffs the year that they drafted Patrick Mahomes. That's not what Andy Dalton did last year. And number 2, while I'm not saying Justin Fields can be Mahomes, I'm not even close to saying that. He was a better prospect coming out of Ohio State. He was more of a pure prospect than Patrick Mahomes. Many people consider Mahomes a raw tools prospect, whereas Fields, he's played at a high level at the Big Ten Conference at Ohio State and gone to a national title game, whereas Patrick Mahomes was going 5-7 at Texas Tech. So I think that's legitimate as well. The bottom line is here. Justin Fields, I don't think he's 100% ready tomorrow. Could he be by September, though? Could he learn this offense, ball out in the preseason, and say, hey, this job is mine? I think it's possible. I don't think we should rule this out by a long shot, and I agree with Jeremy Fowler's point on this. The Bears should not play Dalton over Fields just because he's a veteran. If Fields isn't ready, you play Dalton. But if Fields is and Dalton struggles or something like that in the preseason, play Fields, man. If he's ready to go, I don't think there's any harm in doing just that. Now, speaking of Justin Fields jerseys, which you can get, chatsports.com/Fields1, I wanted to show you guys this graphic because shout out to NFL Fox on this one. Justin Fields currently has 3 of the top 5 highest or most sold jerseys in the NFL. Tim Tebow the first 2, which it boggles my mind that that's the case, but that's where we are. A more legitimate ones is Fields 3 of the top 5, which we'll go ahead and claim victory on that one, and you guys should as well, because we've been pumping these out to you guys, chatsports.com/Fields1, and you guys have been buying them like crazy, and a lot of you guys have sent me DMs on Twitter saying, hey, they've come in the mail. So get one today. They're shipping out pretty quick. Chatsports.com/Fields1. Why would you not want a Justin Fields jersey? Everyone's getting one. The Bears are on fire right now. The energy is palpable. Justin Fields is your quarterback. Chatsports.com/Fields1. That link is in the comments. It's in the description and in the live chat for those of you watching live. Pick up a Justin Fields jersey today. Oh, we had to do it. How about trading for Julio Jones? How about fake news on this one? Guys, it's just, there's no logic to it, and B, it's basically impossible from a financial standpoint to make it happen. Now, could you do like 4 different things to clear up enough cap space? Sure, but remember, you don't have a first-round pick already next year. Just because a report came out from Peter King that, oh, the Falcons might be willing to take a second-round pick, FanSided decides, oh, that puts the Bears in the mix for Julio Jones. No, it doesn't. The Bears are tight on cap space. They're light on draft capital after trading up for Justin Fields. They don't have a first-round pick next year. Sure, I guess you could trade your second and a player for Julio, but then you got to clear the cap, like I'm saying, and then you're setting your draft next year way back. Bears aren't getting Julio. It just doesn't make sense whatsoever. Like, I love Julio Jones. The guy's going to Canton. He's a Hall of Famer. I'm in the camp that he still has plenty left in the tank, but that doesn't mean you make 6 roster moves, make a trade, and sacrifice more draft capital if you're the Bears to go get him. You've got Allen Robinson. I love Julio. The guy's great. He's also 33, and guess what? He's going to want a new contract. Like, he wants a new deal. So I'm not doing this if I'm Chicago. Focus on the guy you have. That's Allen Robinson, who's 6 years younger than Julio Jones, who's still entering his prime, you could argue. And I would also argue is probably a better player than Julio Jones at this point in his career. Keep the guy you got, and that is one Allen Robinson. I'll be fascinated to see where Julio Jones goes, but the Bears aren't in the mix. Just because Peter King says the Falcons might take a second doesn't mean FanSided should jump to the conclusion, hey, Bears got a second. They might get Julio. They're not getting him. There's just no way it's going to happen. Get it trending on social media. Spam it in the comments. #SignAR. I am not going to stop this movement until July 15th comes and goes because that is the deadline to get your number 1 receiver signed to a long-term deal. Otherwise, he plays on the franchise tag for 2021. So, #SignAR. Get it trending in the comments.